Today on Locked On Canadiens, would you rather have the number one power play or the number one penalty kill? Plus, is Patrick Laine going to play on the first line?
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Locked On Canadiens. Thank you for making us your first list of the day and for subscribing wherever you get your podcast. Doing that supports us here on the show and ensures you don't miss an episode of Locked On Canadiens, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, and we are also the number one sports podcast network, thanks to listeners like you. So thank you for tuning in. My name is Ian Boisvert, also known as @MaybeIt'sIan, and I am joined, as I always am, by Laura Saba, also known as the Active Stick. Laura, it's weird. I'm still not used to these 2 days in between games nonsense that the NHL now is baking into the Canadian schedule. Although I guess the players would like it. How are you doing on this off day for your Montreal Canadiens?
I'm excited for the next game. There's only 5 left before the break. The Canadiens need to win, so I'm excited to see what they've got.
Yeah, look, that's it's Tuesday as you're listening to this, which means it's our normal day for our weekly forecast. We'll set you up for the week ahead for the Canadiens. We've also got some news out of practice. We'll start with that, but then we have a fun "Would you rather" segment at the end where we'll kind of go into some hypothetical questions of would we rather have, like I've joked in the open, the number one power play or the number one penalty kill. All right, let's start off with our practice updates in chronological order. It started with Alex Newhook skating before practice started in full equipment, skating around, looked pretty good. It doesn't seem likely he'll play before we get to the Olympic break. It was always the date was always in March when he would come back, but still, it seems like he's going to play in those couple games that we have at the end of February. At the end of the Olympic break. Where do you see him slotting into the lineup, assuming that Montreal, knock on wood, gets to the Olympic break in one piece?
They're going to need to ease him in. So I think they put him on the third line and they see how it goes. And it's entirely possible he stays there if Kirby Dach works out on the top line. You can also have, you can turn that third line into a scoring line with Texier and him.
So who comes out?
That's Marty's problem. Sorry.
I mean, that punt that you just said is an admission that this is a difficult question, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That is because I think the one person we look at here is Brendan Gallagher, and I also don't think that's the right answer. I don't know what else to do than remove him, though.
It's the best option out of all the options, but it's a non-option.
Yeah, I think that's well put. Look, you look at it this way, Gallagher plays special teams. He plays the second power play. If Alex Newhook comes back, he's playing the second power play. So that takes that away from him, because I can't think of anybody else on that second power play that they're taking off.
No.
In exchange for Alex Newhook. I almost wonder if a trade at forward is something that needs to happen. And I don't know who's going to go. I don't know who's going where. But as much as I haven't loved the whole of Zachary Bolduc's look in Montreal in his totality of being here, lately he's been good.
Yeah.
And I'd rather see him playing so that he can build that confidence, especially if this is going to be a playoff team.
It's too soon to call that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's they have time. And, it's funny. Ken Hughes was on Arpin Basu and Marc-Antoine Godin's podcast, The Notebook. And he quoted Lou Lamoriello and he said, if you have time, use it. He said he agrees with that to a certain extent, but with contract negotiations and stuff, he doesn't really find that to be fitting. This is an example where I think he's going to use all the time he has before he has to make a decision. All right, let's move on. Rotating in on the top line next to Suzuki and Caufield was Texier and one Patrick Laine. Laura, is that surprising to you as it is to me?
Yes and no. It's not surprising to me that they want to use him as like a finisher at all. And that's where you put a finisher, right? You put him either on the Demidov line or you put him on the Suzuki line. That's where you're going to put your finisher. I find it surprising that that they would play him at all, if that makes sense. Because where are they going to put him in the lineup if they're rotating those two in and out with each other?
Well, I think Texier is still kind of banged up. He was banged up. He came out of the lineup for, I think, a game or two. Came back in against Boston. I wonder if we don't. I wonder if he's out next game. Honestly, like I wonder if that's if they're like, hey, he's nursing something, and I mean he's not going to get the benefit of the break with the Olympics. Alex Texier, he's going to Italy to play for France. So I wonder if this is an opportunity for him to sort of take some breaks here headed into the Olympics. But I also like, when we talk about Laine and we talk about how, he was acquired to be a top 6 forward, and he is a top 6 forward, skill set wise, deployment wise remains to be seen. But like the Canadiens' problems since he was in the lineup have shifted, right? The second line center thing isn't really a thing right now because Kapanen is playing pretty well. That line's been quiet the last handful of games, but like I think if you're going to play Patrick Laine, it's in a top 6 role.
Yeah, it has to be.
Right? Yeah, there's no point. They're not going to put him on the first power play unit now that Cole Caufield is popping off, and now that unit kind of looks like it knows what it's doing again. Although I'd like to see a little bit more before we, put that that in stone. But I think, Laine is a guy that needs to get puck touches and needs to have offensive zone play time in order to be an effective play driver. And I like when they were playing him with like Jake Evans and stuff down the stretch last year, I was like, what's the point of this? This doesn't make any sense.
Correct.
So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Again, this is sort of a trial. I wonder if we see it against Vegas. I'm sure people will know before we do. But I'm kind of wondering, like, he's in practice. He's rotating in on lines. It seems like he's going to come back sooner rather than later. I'm really curious about that development. The last note we had from practice, it was announced that Jakub Dobes will start against the Vegas Golden Knights. I will go on record saying I would have complained about either selection in net. I really have a hard time seeing what's happening and thinking either one of these goalies gives them an edge over the other one, right? Like, where are you at? Who would you have started in this game?
I would have started Sam Montembeault because he had a good game against Vegas.
Yeah,
it would have been 3 starts in a row for him, which I get 3 starts in a row, but this is not like he did that last year, right? He's fine. He had a lot of rest this year. So I think I would have started Sam Montembeault just because of his previous play against Vegas this season, even through a time when he was struggling really hard.
Yeah. And look, I mean, we'll talk about it in our forecast. Vegas isn't what they once were, right? They are leading the division, but by some of the numbers, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not a super impressive feat to say you're winning that division. I do want to not correct something, but point out, last episode I talked about calling up Kaapo Kahkonen from Laval. And someone in our comments mentioned, well, they'd have to waive him to send him back down. Not immediately. He gets 10 games where he dresses for 10 games, or it's 30 days, whichever comes first. Then you have to put him on waivers to send him back to Laval. So, like, you could feasibly call him up for the rest of the time between now and the Olympics and play him in all of those games and still send him back down without having to go through waivers. So I think, like, that's not the reason the Canadiens haven't done it. The reason the Canadiens haven't done it is they don't think it gives them a better chance to win. Or they want to be able to build on the confidence of their goaltenders that they have currently.
Correct.
What does a good night for Jakub Dobes look like against Vegas?
Just a win. I don't care how ugly it looks. I don't care how ugly it looks. I don't care how many rebounds. Just a win. I just need a W.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. Like, as much as I would want the win, I think if I'm looking at this from how is this game successful for Jakub Dobes, it's that, like, he's giving up 3 or fewer, and it doesn't look like every shot that goes towards him has a chance of going in. Because for both goaltenders as of late, that has felt like a reality, where every puck that gets fired in their direction, you're kind of holding your breath, just trying to make sure it doesn't go through to the other side of that goalie.
And you're doing process and I'm doing results.
Yes. But I think that's important because that is the situation the Canadiens find themselves in.
Yes.
Is trying to balance the process with the results. Like, we were all last year, process was all we cared about, right? And the result was the benefit from that. The process was good, and at the end we all went, they made the playoffs, they had a really good season. That's awesome. This year, because of that result, the result is sort of creeping into taking more precedence over being process driven. That's not totally fair, because this is still the youngest team in the National Hockey League, which we should trademark at some point, because it's just every time something bad happens, we all go, that's the youngest team in the league. Who cares?
Well, because like they got Philippe Deneau, they got Alex Texier. They're still the youngest team in the league.
Yeah, exactly. So look, I think pretty eventful practice for the Canadiens. We'll see how all of these developments shake out. But we have to move on. We'll move on to our weekly forecast when we come back. And I think that this week coming up for the Montreal Canadiens is the toughest test of the season. And we'll get into that in just a minute here on Locked On Canadiens. There is nothing like being near the ice during hockey season. The speed, the hits, the atmosphere, it's unmatched. Watching at home is great, but being in the building is a completely different experience. The only thing that used to get in the way was actually getting tickets. Long queues, endless screens, and prices changing at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NHL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Laura and I on this show, every game I've gone to since I joined this show, I've been going through Game Time. You pull up the app, I find whatever game I want to go to, and the priority fees are included. You'll know your total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. And the app's easy to use. You're browsing, comparing, buying tickets. You can see the view from your seat before buying, so you know exactly what you're getting. And seeing NHL tickets for as low as $25 makes it really easy to plan any kind of game night. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. All right, welcome back. Thank you for making Locked On Canadiens your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out the Everydayer Club. You'll get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Canadiens, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, every major podcast app that you're using. And you'll also get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. I'm going to be hanging out there. I'm going to teach Laura how to hang out there too, so come hang out with us. Go to LockedOnCanadiens.com, LockedOnCanadiens.supercast.com, or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, weekly forecast time, Laura. Versus Vegas, versus Colorado, at Buffalo. Usually in the past, this would have been two tough games and one the Canadiens should make a laugher.
And a gimme.
And that is not the case anymore.
No gimmies this week.
There's no gimmies this week. Let's start at the top. Vegas Golden Knights. The Golden Knights are 25, 14, and 12 for 62 points. That's first in the Pacific. The Canadiens are in the second wild card in the East with 63 points and would lead the Pacific Division. So just to put into perspective how much more challenging the Eastern Conference is than the West. The West has higher highs, I think, but the middle is gone in the Western Conference.
Yeah, it also has the low of the low, whereas and it's not just the conference; it's the division the Canadiens are into.
Yeah, it's really really tough this year. The Canadiens beat Vegas 4-1 back in late November. That was the Montembeault game you were mentioning earlier. He was quite good. It was one of the best Canadiens games of the season. They went into Vegas, which at that point Vegas was a stronger team, I think. And Montreal really put on one of, if not their best performances of the year. Adin Hill in net, he just gave up 7 to Ottawa on Sunday. I don't know if he'll be playing in this game, although with those numbers, you might hope that he does. 5th best power play in the league, 11th best penalty kill, 6th best in goals for per game. The Canadiens are 5th, so very evenly matched offenses, but 17th best in goals against per game play. Montreal is quite low on that as well. What are you looking at in that Vegas Golden Knights game?
I just want them to win. That's like, I feel like I've gotten to a point now. I've watched them play good games and not win. I don't want them to play well anymore. I want them to win no matter what. Again, I know this is like you and I are on two different sides of the results versus process coin. I don't like hearing that the Canadiens are in the second wild card spot and dropping out while Buffalo's winning 5-1. I don't know who they beat the other day, right?
Yeah.
You know, that the teams that are on their heels, which there's no guarantee that any of those teams are going to regress before the end of this season. So the Montreal Canadiens really need to start winning.
Yeah, and look, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Montreal is like dipping. I think they're 5-4-1 in their last 10. And Buffalo is on fire and has been on fire for a month, and that's how they got ahead of the Canadiens, right? I keep saying this about Buffalo, and we'll move on because we're going to talk about Buffalo later. This Buffalo team is either going to regress and still be a decent team, but not as good as they have been, or they're a team of destiny and they've already won the Stanley Cup. Like, those are the options that are in front of us for this Buffalo team. One of them is far more likely than the other. I'm just play the law of averages here. The first option there, where they're going to kind of regress and come back to some sort of mean, is more realistic. All right, the next one. The Quebec Nordique come to town. It's just the Colorado Avalanche, but they will be wearing the Quebec Nordique jerseys, which I've gone on record saying I hate that. So that's where I'll leave that. The Avs are 35-6-9 for 79 points. They are number one in the division, in the West, in the league. Second best is Carolina, and they're 10 points back of the Colorado Avalanche. So it goes to show you that this is not close with what's happening in the National Hockey League. Montreal lost 7-2 to Colorado back in November. It was right after the Vegas game, so it's sort of funny how this week will match up very similarly to that. But the Avs are kind of coming back down to earth a little bit. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10. The Canadiens are 1 point better than the Avs in their last 10. They're in goals for and goals against. They are number one. In penalty kill, they are third. Their power play is 29th. So
wow,
very, very interesting there that a team as offensively gifted as that can't score on the power play. The last thing I want to point out about this game is the last home game for the Montreal Canadiens for almost a month. The next time you will see the Canadiens at home will be February 26th. So what are you looking for in this Colorado game? How do the Canadiens survive this hockey game?
I want to see Nathan McKinnon wearing Philippe Danault like a cape. That's what I want to see.
I think that's the Canadiens' best option, honestly.
Because other people are going to score, Brock Nelson or whoever. I don't know who else. Like, I'm trying to remember the 7-2 game, and I just remember.
Yeah, Brock Nelson had a hat trick. It was stupid. I think when you're playing a team like Colorado, like, I'm almost okay if the McKinnons and the McCarrs of the world beat you. It's when it's the Brock Nelsons that I'm just like, can you shut up?
Yeah, like a hat trick.
Yeah, that's when I'm sort of like, those are the guys you have to completely turn off in that game.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have a Brock Nelson running roughshod all over you. Like, that's not fair. Like, that's not a winning recipe for that game, because those other guys are still going to get their cookies, right? You can't allow a Brock Nelson to have a repeat performance, although he seemingly has always cooked the Canadiens for some reason. I don't know what it is about this team. Yeah. Even when he was an Islander, he cooked the Canadiens.
Very annoying. I want to see a really good game from Noah Dobson, from Mike Matheson, from Caden Gooley, and also from Arbor Xhekaj. I'm assuming that's who they're going to play in that game, because Jaden Struble, I feel like they might maybe have given up on that experiment. I don't know. But I want to see them just play really well. I don't think that, you said you don't believe in the concept of a scheduled loss. Neither do I. But this is the Colorado Avalanche. So
yeah, I think this is I'm really looking for the Canadiens to have a stronger effort than they did the last time around.
Yes.
They started that game against the Avs in November really well.
Really
the first 10 minutes, we were like, okay, this might be, and then it was over before we could win. Like, it was really funny just how fast Colorado decided, that's enough. We're done with you.
They played with their food before they ate it. Just one more thing I want to say is that it's supremely insulting to wear the Nordiques jersey in Montreal. If you want to do it in your own barn and be embarrassing there, that's fine. But when you're doing it here, it's like it adds insult to injury.
Yeah. All the more reason for the Canadiens to just come out on Thursday and kick the crap out of that hockey team. All right.
That's the hope.
The last game of the week, it is the Buffalo Sabres. They are 29-17-5 for 63 points. They are third in the Atlantic Division. They are tied with the Canadiens, but by virtue of games played, they take over Montreal in that spot. Montreal's 1-2 versus Buffalo this year. This is the last game of their season series. For me, there's a couple things that I want to see in this one. The D need to move the puck quickly to deal with the Sabres forecheck. They're fast, they're big, they're gonna barrel in on you. You need to move the puck quickly. The penalty kill needs to step up, And the secondary scoring has got to get hot. I hope it's in the first 2 games this week, but if it waits until Buffalo, the Canadiens in the last 2 games against Buffalo, they have 2 goals from Caufield, 2 goals from Suzuki, and a goal from Demidov. That's it in 2 games. So they need more from the rest of their lineup. What else are you looking for if Montreal is going to right the ship against the Buffalo Sabres?
None of that crap where they fall asleep for 25 minutes and then turn on the game.
Yeah, if you do, especially because I believe this game will be in Buffalo, you can't afford to do that again.
Yep.
You have to come out strong. And again, like Buffalo didn't play all that well last time Montreal played them, and those first 25 minutes were enough to salt the game away, which you just can't happen. All right, we will leave that there. When we come back, we're gonna have some fun. It's a series of would you rather questions, ranging from would you rather have the best power play or penalty kill, all the way to would you rather win the Stanley Cup or go to the Hall of Fame. We'll get into all that in just a second here on Locked On Canadiens. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look to the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way, and there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps, so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnhl. That's QUO.com/lockedonnhl. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. All right, welcome back. Laura, we're playing Would You Rather. These are questions that I thought of just in, some silent time inside during the snowstorm. When I have too much time to myself, these are the sorts of things that I think of, because I'm a sick person. So let's just get right into it. Would you rather have a #1 power play unit or a #1 penalty kill unit?
I'm going to say penalty kill, and I'll tell you why. Because you said #1. Doesn't mean that power play is not number 2, 3, or 5, right? The other thing, too, is that with when you have the #1 penalty kill, like you're battling 31 other teams, right? If you have the you're trying to defend against 31 other teams.
Right.
If you have a bad power play, you're only trying to overcome your own shortcomings. You're not trying to overcome other people's shortcomings. So I just feel like it's easier to be the best penalty kill, and then figure out scoring 5-on-5 or whatever.
Yeah, I focus a lot on the power play as far as like analysis goes, just because I find when you have a terrible power play, it really just saps the life out of your hockey team. But I also go with PK on this one, and just look at the Avs as an example, right? They're 3rd on the penalty kill and 29th on the power play, and their offense is still the best offense in the league. Like it goes to show you that I think a penalty kill that matches up well against somebody can be the reason why a series is won, a game is won, that sort of thing. I also think just from the numbers perspective, the best power plays in the league now are operating at about 30%. So, like, let's just say 1 in 3 to be clean about it. The best penalty kill is like 85%, which means, which means if you took 10 penalties and you gave away 10 power play opportunities, you're going to give up 8, you're going to stop 8, maybe 9 of those power play opportunities. That to me is way more potent when it comes to how you win hockey games in today's NHL. You still need a good power play. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can't be 32 and expect to do anything of consequence. But I agree. I tend to go penalty kill on this one. All right, we'll move on. Would you rather on your team have a 60 goal scorer or have 5 players with 60 points?
The second one.
You would rather have 5 players with 60 points. Explain.
Yes, because you need scoring by committee. And you said 60 points. Did you mean 60 or more or just 60?
Let's just say flat 60.
Flat 60. That's tough. But I still think that you're not going to win games if only one guy is scoring.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, you look at
Ovechkin.
You look at well, I was going to say Matthews from a few years ago, right? Like he was. I mean, that team had other talent. And it didn't do it for them. I still think like I would like to see the team I cheer for have a 60 goal scorer one day. I think that is a feat in and of itself, regardless of like that's how you build a hockey team or whatever. Like if you can't personally, and this is a jab at the Toronto Maple Leafs, if you can't figure out how to win games with a 60 goal scorer, I think you suck at your job.
Yes.
Like you have to be that guy scored 60 times. There's 82 games.
Yeah.
60 goals. How did you not figure out a way how to win more games? How did you not get him to score in the playoffs? Like that's a moral failing on their part. It's not so much like we can't have a 60 goal scorer because look at the Toronto Maple. That's garbage. You have to, if you have a player like that, you have to be able to win more than you lose. So I'll take 60 goals in that one. I really think that's more along the lines of where I'd go. Next one, we have two more of these. Would you rather? I guess we could do this as if you were a player, or put a Canadiens player in this spot. Okay. Would you rather win the Hart or win the Rocket?
Oh, if I were a player, I would want to win the Hart.
I kind of disagree.
I know. I knew you were going to disagree
about the Hart Trophy because I want to tell you why I disagree with that.
Okay. Like, I feel like the Rocket is just a numbers game, right? Like, you scored more than the other person. The
now
Hart,
you see why I like it.
Yeah. It's easy, right? It's just numbers. It's math. The Hart means you did more things than that.
Yeah.
Right? You dragged your team into the playoffs. That's usually what the Hart is.
I think to a certain extent, the Hart Trophy, well, just by comparison between the Hart Trophy and the Rocket, the Hart Trophy is a popularity contest at the end of the day. That's what it is, right? I want to
be liked.
Sure, for sure. You know what I want to do? Score more than anybody else in the league did that year. And I also, just thinking of the Canadiens, have the Canadiens ever won a Rocket?
No, it's just the guy that the trophy is named for.
That needs to be rectified yesterday. Like that can't continue. Okay. I think that you can lose a Hart Trophy because somebody didn't put you on the ballot. Looking at Jerome McGinley, for example, the year he should have won the Hart Trophy over Jose Theodore. Let's be frank about it. He was left off of a ballot and it cost him the whole thing because somebody decided that he wasn't even in the top 5 players that year. So, that to me is icky. You can't take the Hart Trophy or you can't take the Rocket away from me. I scored more than you. Give me my hardware. Yeah. Like I feel like that to me is why I'm like, give me the pure stats counting trophy. I want that. Earned.
There's no shenanigans. And yes, it's true. The Montreal Canadiens have never won a Rocket.
That needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
It's so fat. Do you think, is there somebody on this team who can win it? Is it just Cole Caufield?
It's just Cole Caufield. Maybe
Demidov could take a run at it one day.
Maybe Demidov. Like 5 years from now.
Yeah, I think he could. If he really, remember when McDavid was like, well, I could score 50 goals and just decided he wanted to? Yeah. I feel like maybe Demidov gets to that point where he's like, yeah, my playmaking's good, but I think I want to win a Rocket Richard.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I love that kid.
Champagne problems to be having right now. All right. Last one. Let's say that you are a player, right? You are in the National Hockey League. At the end of your career, do you want to win a Stanley Cup or do you want to go to the Hall of Fame?
I want to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat.
I know the Hall of Fame is the Hall of Fame, but that too is also subjective. It's like what one person thought that like probably only watched 3 of your games a year. And, and then it's like a whole voting block of those people, right? Whereas you win the Stanley Cup, it's objective. You've done the work, you've won the cup.
Yeah, I think I would have answered differently, before this last summer when Carey Price wasn't an automatic first ballot Hall of Famer. And that sort of put into perspective for me that like...
This is subjective?
It's subjective. The guys who are in charge of picking it have their own rules and considerations for what they would take. Like, again, it's a cup is like the same thing as the Richard for me, the Rocket. Like, you can't take that away from me. I won that. Yes. Like I very much am in favor of a lot of these concrete awards. that there's no room for complaining. Like, people love to put asterisks next to cups. They want a cup. Shut up. Like, you can put them next to Tampa all you want. Put it next to whoever you want for whatever reason you want. There's no asterisks on that cup. It's just, well, there are. They just go over names they spelled incorrectly. Anyway, well, that'll do it for our first ever Would You Rather segment. I'm sure we'll bring this back. If you have Would You Rather topics, put them in the comments down below.
Yeah.
Or give us your answers if we were completely off base with what we said on this episode. All right. Now we go from asking each other questions, Laura, to asking our listeners questions. It's time for our trivia. Yesterday's question was about the Habs' last hat trick in Boston. It was Cole Caufield. But before that, it was in 1997 from Mark Recchi. But before that, who had the last, I guess at this point, the third last hat trick for the Montreal Canadiens in Boston? Laura, do you know who did it?
Yes, it was Mark Recchi the year before.
It was also Mark Recchi. It was 1996. Super Rain did not fall for my trick question. He had it correct. I think you joked about it yesterday when I told you the answer.
He scored a hat trick against Boston, and then he scored another hat trick against Boston, and then a few years later he went to Boston and got his medical degree.
Yeah, he can do it all, folks. Yes, so Super Rain, congrats for getting that one right. All right, today's question, since we're talking about awards, let's go to Laine Hutson, who won the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. In Laine Hutson's rookie season, he had the fourth most assists in a single season by a Habs defenseman. In first, second, and third, you'll find Larry Robinson. He owns that category for the Canadiens. How many assists does Laine Hutson need this season to take first place for himself? So what is the high water mark for assists by a defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens in a single season? And Laine Hutson in his relation to that. So if you have the answer, put it in the comments down below this video. Let us know any way you know how, and we will give you a shout out on the next episode of the show.
Of course, you included a math in it.
Oh, there's not really math. Just give us the raw total, right? How many assists does he need to stand alone and look down on every other Canadiens defenseman season as far as assists?
It's not how many more. It's just how many in total.
No, because by the time this comes out, it'll be after the game against Vegas. Then I'll have to do math. Like, there's what if someone doesn't know that he scored 3 assists in that Vegas game? There's a lot that goes into this. So no, we're not doing it that way. So yes, that is today's trivia question. So thank you for tuning into Locked On Canadiens and making us your first listen of the day, and for subscribing wherever you get your podcast. Doing that supports us here on the show and ensures you don't miss an episode. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Canadiens ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 Locked On National Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen is NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL. You can find the show everywhere we're posting things. Locked On Canadiens on Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok primarily. LockedOnCanadiens@gmail.com is probably the best way to reach out to us. We love getting fan mail from you guys. We love hearing from you, your thoughts on what's going on with the team. But also, we love getting your mailbag questions. We do a mailbag every Friday. We collect all of those questions. We try to get to as many of them as we can on Friday morning's episode. So be sure to send in your mailbag questions there or any of the other places you can find us. You can find Laura at The Active Stick. You can find me at Maybe It's Ian. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you guys after the game.